Last week, we looked at the first 2 steps that you need to take in your marketing journey, and I gave you access to the full Kickstarter Roadmap. And if you haven't already downloaded the roadmap, jump onto the link in the description for today's show notes, and you can download it for free, which will give you all 7 steps. The path that we lay out, the order that we suggest that you do things in when you're basically starting out on your marketing journey. So this week, I'm going to be touching on the rest of the stages that we recommend doing before you introduce any marketing tactics into your business. Things like paid ads, social media ads, Facebook ads, or any kind of, content marketing strategies. These are the things that we suggest you do first. And if you don't lay the foundations of your house correctly, then your house is likely to fall down. And it's no different for your marketing. You need to do the groundwork and get that right first. Not only will this be seen in your results, but as a business owner, you can feel calm and confident because you know who you are as a brand. And you know exactly what your message is, and you know exactly who your customers are that you want to attract. Clarity is honestly so freeing. So that's what we're going to try and help you achieve in this 2-part series. So in last week's episode, we spoke about step 1, which is defining your core offer. So if you haven't listened to episode 6, which is part 1 in this 2-part series, go back and listen to that first so you can understand the very first 2 steps that you need to take. So step 1 is defining your core offer, and we look at what's most profitable for you in that process. And step 2 was understanding what your customer is thinking in relation to your product or service. So what were their internal fears and concerns that they're actually really worried about? Whether they tell you or whether they don't, it's your job to uncover these and to talk to those fears and concerns in your message. So go back and listen to episode 6 if you haven't already. So we are now going to move on to the rest of the steps in the framework. And step 3 in the process is to create a one-liner for your business that you can show on your website and your social media. And this one-liner also needs to pass the barbecue test. And you might be wondering what that is. Fair enough. This means that if somebody came up to you at a barbecue and asked, "What do you do?" then you would be able to answer this clearly and concisely in one statement, a couple of sentences, and they would be able to easily understand exactly what it is that you do, like what your business does, what problem you solve. It's no rambling for 10 minutes about why you started the business and it came from your dad's dad and it's been in the family for generations. No, this is giving you a really, really clear statement that you can repeat and you can say, and somebody would immediately know what problem you solve and for who. And this is something that you want your team to understand. You want your customers to understand. It needs to be plastered all over your website. So it wants to be really, really clear. And this concept comes from a book that was written by Donald Miller, and it's called Building a Story Brand. And I've touched on it before in earlier episodes. But if marketing your business interests you in terms of you want to know how to do it in the shortest road possible, read this book. It is fantastic, and I recommend it to any business owners. So the idea to create your one-liner is to break it down into 3 parts, and I'm going to give you an example. So the first thing is the problem, which is describe the problem that you solve. You should already know this from step 1 if you have followed along. And the second part is to describe the solution, like how do you solve this? And the third part is to describe the transformation. So this means, what does success look like after they've worked with your business? To demonstrate this, I'm going to give you the example of the one-liner that we use for the Market Your Tradie Business podcast. Imagine that you've just met me at a barbecue and you've said, "Hey, nice to meet you, Cass. What do you do?" So our one-liner is, many tradie business owners are time poor and struggle to market themselves effectively because they don't know how. That's the problem. We teach the fundamentals of marketing through our course and podcast in a way that's simple and stress-free. Solution: so that you can get out of the cycle of marketing overwhelm and start attracting the clients and work that are most profitable. Transformation. So you can see the 3 statements I've made and how it addresses the problem, the solution, and the transformation. If you've already downloaded the Kickstarter Roadmap, then you can have a look at step 3 in this path that we give you, and you can think about what your one-liner could be for your business. It's something that we do go quite in depth on in the Market Your Tradie Business course. So step number 4 in the Kickstarter Roadmap, you've got clear on your niche, you understand your customer, and now you have a clearly defined message. The oldest form of marketing in the book is good old word of mouth marketing. And it, in my opinion, is certainly not dead. And I'm sure that you've seen this as well in your business. This is why this is the next thing on the list. Before you try to scale or attract more customers to your business, you need to first do what you do really well. Not just well, you need to deliver a remarkable service so that your customers are delighted and tell their friends, thus becoming your walking sales force. If your customer has a bad experience, they'll tell on average 15 people. And 68% of consumers say that they are willing to pay more for products and services from a brand who is already known to offer a good customer service experience. And one more fun fact for you today, but not only this. If the company's customer service is excellent, 78% of consumers will do business with them again after a mistake. So I think we've all been there in business where we've, made a mistake or something's gone wrong in our service quality, and we've had to come back from that. So what the statistics are showing is that almost 80% of your customers will be a loyal customer after that mistake, as long as the service is good and as long as it's handled well. So these are the reasons why I feel strongly that delivering an average or a poor service is a huge mistake for your business, as it's counterintuitive for the growth that you're trying to achieve in your marketing. If your customers aren't becoming raving fans, then how can we change this for the customers moving forward? Implementing systems and processes around delivering a consistent and remarkable service will position you way ahead of your competition who aren't doing those things. Step 4 is to deliver a remarkable service. The way that you can go about this as a business is to make a list of all of the things that you could do to improve your service level, even if they don't cost you anything. What could you do to deliver a remarkable experience that your customers aren't expecting, the one that's going to make them go tell all their friends about this amazing company that they've worked with? So step 5 is to set up your online presence. What I mean by this is to decide where your marketing is going to be sending people. So there's no point in running paid ads if your paid ads have nowhere for people to be sent when they click on it. So most commonly, this is to a website or an email list or a social media page. Maybe it's even an online store. So you want to make sure that when your potential customers click the link on a paid ad or find you on Google, that they aren't turned off by your outdated or poorly functioning web page or social media where you haven't posted since it was first made in 2019. So this stuff is important and it matters. Wherever you decide to take your business online presence, make sure that it looks professional but also has a clear and compelling message about how you can help them. Step number 6 is to share content that moves your business forward towards your marketing goals. This is another way in which businesses can easily get off track in the content that you're sharing on your social media or your website if it isn't the right type of content to match what your audience actually want to see. Like, I see it all the time where tradie businesses are sharing content that isn't interesting or engaging the people that they're actually trying to connect with. At best, it means that they'll just scroll past your content. At worst, it turns them off your brand, or they might unfollow you, or it might paint you as potentially untrustworthy or unprofessional because look at the level of content that you're putting out. It doesn't need to be Hollywood quality content, although having some like great quality professional content is always like going to go a long way. It's more about the message in your content and the type of content that you're putting out. So making sure that it is stuff that your customers actually want to see, that it's actually addressing their questions and the concerns that they might have in regards to working with somebody like you, like your type of trade. Knowing what type of content is right for your business and your audience isn't overly complicated, but if you've put in some time on steps 1 to 4, you should be pretty clear about your message and your audience's problems. So again, we teach you how to do this step by step in the Market Your Tradie Business course, which is coming out very soon in 2022. And if you're listening to this podcast at a later date, then go to buildsbycaptivemedia.com to check that out. So step number 7 is the final step in our Kickstarter Roadmap. And this is when you can actually start thinking about marketing strategies and tactics to amplify your reach. And your reach is how many people you are getting in front of online. So this is where we suggest involving an expert, if you haven't already done so, to help you decide on what the best strategy might be for your business. So it might be running Google ads or Facebook ads, or growing an email list, organically marketing your business through posting content on social media. Maybe you're making a YouTube video, or you're using Reels to attract your audience. If you go to an expert, like a digital marketing company, with a really clear brief of who you are and who you help, it's going to massively improve the results that they can help you achieve and how quickly they can get them for you. If you're already clear on that stuff, you take away all of the time that would need to be spent doing that process with a paid expert. So not only is this going to help you in your own content creation and things that you share, but if you do decide to work with an expert, it's going to make that process so much easier for you and easier for them. Throughout all of the steps, we encourage you to document what you're doing as you go so that you can systemize your processes. This is something I wish that I had thought to do when I was first going through the motions of trial and error of all different systems and strategies of marketing in my business. Don't keep it all in your head. Just write it down as you go. And if you don't end up using that strategy, that's fine. But then if you do, you can very easily delegate that to somebody else because you've got documented what you've gone through in the process. The idea of systemizing it all and documenting the process might come quite a bit later after you've established a marketing plan that works for your business, but it's going to enable you to outsource or delegate these tasks easily and effectively and have your business functioning more efficiently because everything is documented and you've got your own SOP or your standard operating procedures. So implementing systems and processes to automate any part of the work that you need to do can free up your time massively. Whether that's delegating it to somebody in your team to manage or outsourcing to a third-party company to manage on an ongoing basis, make it a set and forget process so that you aren't the bottleneck holding up the marketing engine of your business. So there is lots to take in with this episode, but I encourage you to download the Kickstarter Roadmap and look at where you are as a business on this journey and know that you don't need to be doing amplification type tactics like ads until you have your foundations in place. Start at the beginning, do things in the right order, make it easier for yourself and for your business and for anyone else that comes in that's going to be doing marketing either in your team or externally. Start at the beginning and follow the steps. So now, if you're thinking this is all great, Cass, but I'm struggling to work out my messaging or I'm not quite sure how to approach some of these steps, then I invite you to book in for a 90-minute Kickstarter call with me where we'll go through the 7 steps together for your business and review your current marketing. And I can make recommendations for you on a personal note. So if this sounds like something that interests you, then you can book a call through the link in the episode description. So I will drop the link in the show notes. At the end of the day, you need to ask yourself, what is the cost to my business by not being clear on my offer? How many potential clients are being turned away because they didn't understand how we could help them? So your key takeaway today is to download the Kickstarter Roadmap if you haven't already, and make notes and think about each of the 7 steps in relation to your business and follow the path for your marketing journey. We hope this gives you some clarity and good luck. Now, one of the things that we often say as business owners is how important it is to make time for yourself and to be able to take time away from your business for a holiday. Easier said than done, right? So that's what I'm going to be doing for the next couple of weeks. I'm going to be practicing what we preach. And so my partner and I are heading to Europe, and we'll be back on the podcast on Wednesday, the 6th of July. In the meantime, here's to building trust and being remembered, and we'll catch you in the next episode.